Summer 2020 in Ontario was amazing, with little trouble crossing the border. So why is it so complicated to get back into Canada the summer of 2021? Will we get in? Last summer, we went to Canada and it was amazing. Especially Larry got to go to his hometown of Oakville, Ontario. And we're hoping to get in again this summer. Will we get in? Don't touch that dial. Now you got to wait until you hear what we have to say.
Now, when we sold our home and lived in an RV, we knew our time was going to be split between the United States and Canada. I was born in Canada. I grew up in Canada. I didn't move to Florida until I was 15, but then I still spent most of my summers in Canada after that. Alice and I got married in Canada. We got engaged in Canada. We've taken our kids there on lots of trips. I have a ton of family still up in Canada and a lot of friends, so we're definitely going to be spending a lot of time in Canada.
We have very strong roots in Canada. So why are we making this video right now? Well, we had made a video about my mess up about an expired driver's license and what a hassle it was to get a real ID. And I expected lots of comments about expired tags and so on. But we had briefly mentioned...
I just put a little map in there of like our trip from Georgia up to Nova Scotia. And a lot of people are like, hey, you can't go to Canada.
Yes. So we decided there's probably a lot of new people that don't know our situation. So we'd explain and tell you about our plans.
When we planned our trip last year, you know, COVID was going on, but they had just opened up the border to spouses of Canadians. I'm Canadian, so I'm allowed in. They can't really refuse a Canadian. And they had opened it up to spouses. So we were coming over in July, and we were worried crossing the border. When we came over, we were like, are they gonna let us in? And so we get across the border, and the only thing they asked us is like, they asked us for our passports, and they asked us if we had any guns. Right? And they, you know, as far as health stuff, we were all prepared for like a health check. And all he asked us was, how are you guys feeling?
Yes. And he asked, do you have a quarantine spot?
Yeah, that's right.
That's pretty much all we needed.
Do you feel sick? No, we're good. And do you have a quarantine spot? And we were good to go. So last year, it was a relatively easy process going across the border. We quarantined for 14 days, and we had an awesome time for the rest of the summer in Canada.
But this year, it's gotten so much worse. You would think it'd be even easier. But this year, there's a lot of new restrictions. And we wanted to make it clear that we've been doing our research. We've been checking because the rules do change often. And the main thing is, we're not even going to be up there for weeks. We're not doing that thing like we did last time where we were there from Tennessee to Canada in like a day. We're taking our time. So we're not going to be in Canada until July?
Sometime in July.
Okay.
Or maybe late June. We'll see.
While we've been here in Tennessee mooch docking at like our buddy's place, we're going to call it Camper Life Cabin. And
the compound. Camper Life Compound. I like that better.
With full hookups, we've been doing lots of research, and Larry has a super, you know how he is. He's got us super prepared for our trip up north and hopefully into Canada.
I have been doing a lot of research and coming into Canada this year. I pretty much watch the Nova Scotia updates daily, and I watch the Trudeau updates daily. And so there's a little bit different procedure this year. First of all, before we cross the border, within 72 hours, we have to get tested. We have to have a negative test result 72 hours before we cross the border. Then we have to sign up with a service online called Arrive Canada. There's actually an app. We have to tell them when we're going to cross the border, where we're crossing the border, and then we actually have an appointment time when we cross. So that's all set. So we cross with our negative test. When we hit the border, we're going to get tested at the border.
Test
actually
number
right
2.
there at the border crossing. And then they're going to give us a test kit to bring with us.
Test number 3.
Right. And then on day 8 of our quarantine, the other thing we have to give them, we have to tell them where we're going to quarantine. We have to test again at day 8. So the big problem this year is that we are entering into New Brunswick. You can't go into Nova Scotia directly from the United States. You got to go through New Brunswick if you're bringing your RV. And Nova Scotia shut their border down on May 10th. So that's what's really thrown a monkey wrench into our plans, is that we're waiting for Nova Scotia to open up their border with New Brunswick. Right now, it's just permanent residents of Nova Scotia only allowed in the province.
Yeah, we were super planned because he's got a nephew This nephew that used to come visit us in Florida every summer, he's got land for us. He's ready for us to quarantine on his property. We're all set. We're willing to take all the tests. I'm a little worried it's not the nose test.
I'm not worried about that.
I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, we were supposed to go to Nova Scotia last summer. See,
Yeah.
this was all supposed to go on top of last summer, but Nova Scotia had its own 2-week quarantine on top of the 2 weeks we already did in Ontario. So we bypassed it last summer, but we got to go this summer because I really miss seeing my nephew.
Yep. So our plan right now is we're slowly enjoying the journey, heading to Maine, and that's where we're getting our second vaccine shot. We got our first vaccine shot here while we're moose stalking in Tennessee, and then we're going to go from there.
Yeah, we're definitely taking it a little slower than last year. Last year it was Florida, Tennessee, all the way to Canada. This day we hit Georgia, Tennessee, Virginia, Pennsylvania,
New Hampshire,
and then Maine, right?
Yes.
So a little bit slower this year.
Yes.
But so that's the general idea. We'll probably be up there, hopefully crossing over sometime at the end of June, and as long as Nova Scotia opens.
But that's what this lifestyle is all about. If we can't get in, then we'll just change our plans.
We'll go to plan B, and then C,
and then D, and then E. We'll cruise around the northern part of the States if we can't get into Nova Scotia. Or maybe we'll try to get into Ontario instead.
Yeah, I talked to my buddy that we mooched off from last year, and he says we're welcome to come on up and quarantine with him in Ontario again, really close to where I grew up in Oakville.
Yeah.
And then we can kind of branch out in Ontario from then. So hopefully, all the provincial parks and camping will be open, hopefully by July 1st.
Yes. So basically, this is just all about some confusion that we've seen in some of the comments. Larry has a little bit of an advantage over people that are not dual citizens, and that's why we have the opportunity to go into Canada when some other people can't. We are aware that there are borders that are closed, and by the time we get up there, we are hoping it's open, but if it's not open, then we'll change our plans.
We'll figure it out. In the meantime, we're going to be hitting all these awesome states.
Yes, I can't
we're going to be
wait.
up in Maine and doing some cool stuff.
I'm going to get my signs, my selfie signs.
She's going to get all those state signs going up. We'd love to be up in Nova Scotia, but we'll see what happens.
Yes. So just stay tuned and see if we get in. So that question at the very beginning of the video where I said, are we getting in? This is when you can go ahead and tell us what you think. Go ahead and tell me on Instagram or Facebook,
or just leave a comment in the video below. If you got some information about the Canadian situation, please share that with us. That would be awesome.
Yes. Now we do lots of videos like this about RV living, traveling full time, but we also do lots of DIYs, some product reviews, campground tours and the fun stuff to do, all that kind of stuff.
You forgot like breaking stuff, screwing up, all that kind of stuff, all the fun stuff.
You like if we don't get across the border.
Yeah, if we get arrested at the border, thrown in jail.
That'd be good
stuff
content.
like that. Yeah,
good
there you
content. Go. Yes. But.
And remember.
Believe it or not, downsizing still makes sense.